For about 2 months, former Navy SEAL Frank Gordon and dog Casey have been in intensive training. Casey is training to become a qualified service dog and training Gordon to use him to cope with what doctors have diagnosed as severe post-traumatic stress disorder.
He gets me on a schedule. I used to stay up till 2. Now I'm so tired, I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
And that alone is a huge step for Gordon, who says he still feels trapped in the real-life nightmares he lived during his military service.
You brag about it and you have this machismo, but then when everything settles down, you remember those faces. You remember the things you did. Sometimes you become ashamed. He was trying to kill you, and I was trying to kill him. But I have a family, and so does he. And I took his life.
The thought of taking another life almost led him to take his own.
I found myself on a desolate road with a Falnatique 12-gauge shotgun with collapsible stock shoved in my mouth. And it had maybe a 5-pound trigger pull on it, and I had it down to about 2 pounds.
Living with invisible wounds for more than 30 years, now he's got Casey, a brand new solution to a problem as old as war.
Just the pain of what I've endured in the past, I don't now. These dogs are literally like medicine.
Casey and about 50 other dogs at this Northeast Ohio nonprofit are trained to sense when their veteran becomes anxious and pull them out of flashbacks or panic attacks. That's what dog Sophie was doing when we sat down with her owner and Wags for Warriors co-founder, Frank DiLorenzo.
You know, she's trying to take my focus down off of you to her. So, enough. I'm okay. No, I am. Thank you.
DiLorenzo, a 13-year Army veteran, suffers from PTSD.
It's not a good feeling. I mean, you're complete panic, and it's, you know, I'm a grown man. I've served 13 years in the Army. I shouldn't be like this.
More than 2 million U.S. troops have been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan since 2001. 1 in 5 of those veterans are likely to be afflicted by post-traumatic stress disorder or major depression. Since October of last year, DiLorenzo and his wife Jen have been training and providing service dogs free of charge to these veterans across the state.
It's easier to work with the dogs than to tell the veterans what to do. With our PTSD and TBI, a lot of times we forget, you know, the basic commands on what we're supposed to do.
Today they're training their dogs to block and let their veteran know when someone is approaching. It's an essential command for Marine Corps veteran Tyler Bales. He uses his dog Radar as a second set of eyes.
You're there. You're always watching your back. You're watching the back of your fellow Marines. You know, when you come home, it's kind of hard to lose that.
Dr. Heather Axtell, a clinical psychologist at the Columbus VA Hospital, says hypervigilant behavior is not uncommon.
Veterans that are very alert can at times get kind of exhausted with that because they are always looking at people trying to figure out if that person is a threat or is a safe person.
For the first time since retiring 2 years ago, Army veteran Olena Ferguson is able to attend her doctor's appointment at the VA. Ferguson sustained a traumatic brain injury in a plane crash and also suffers from PTSD.
Without my dog, you know, before I got Vata, before I started my training, then I would have a meltdown every single time, and I could not attend an appointment.
But these success stories aren't enough for the Department of Veteran Affairs to provide benefits to veterans who wish to use a service dog for a mental health disorder. The department amended federal regulations last month and will now only provide benefits to veterans requiring a service dog for visual, hearing, or mobility impairments, at least until a 2010 study mandated by Congress is complete.
We understand that anecdotally that some veterans say that it improves their quality of life, but we haven't been able yet to determine whether these dogs provide a medical benefit to veterans with a mental illness.
DiLorenzo says the demand for PTSD service dogs has increased at Wags for Warriors since the regulation took effect. It's a service that veterans like Gordon say they cannot survive without.
You never get over PTSD. It's like alcoholism. You deal with it. And the dogs are literally, not metaphorically, lifesavers.
Taylor Muir-Fendereski, WOUB News.